Friends, do you think you might be eligible for a workers' compensation claim? Well, I know the perfect person to ask, and that's Ryan E. Murphy with the Ryan E. Murphy Law Firm. So good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
All right, workers' compensation sounds like a tricky subject. People might be confused by it. How do you know if you are eligible?
Well, really, it is a tricky subject. There are a lot of pitfalls that need to be navigated to ensure that an individual gets what they're supposed to get under the law. And to answer your question is, if you've been hurt at work, give us a call. We'll let you know whether that's an accident or injury that is compensable, meaning you get benefits under work comp law, and we'll let you know if it's not.
Oh, so there are different types of injuries that might comply and might not?
Certainly, there are. Like, for example, there's certain events that could take place in your normal non-employment life that are considered non-compensable. But at the same time, it's very nuanced, and it really does require a professional with experience to convey to the injured party whether one thing is or isn't a compensable injury.
So somebody's watching right now, they could be wondering, okay, does this fall under? They should call you to get that advice to see if they qualify.
Yes, and that's exactly why we give free consultations, because even if they call, even if they meet with me and they get a professional answer that this isn't compensable, that it's not something that Missouri work comp benefits should be paid on, it didn't cost them anything, and they get to know for certain that they didn't give up something because they weren't aware of the law in Missouri.
Right. Well, and speaking of too, what about employer harassment, retaliation? I know a lot of people are afraid of that.
Yes. Okay, so probably the biggest concern that I have is, will there be some type of a retaliation if I seek benefits, whether it be medical treatment or seek any benefits under work comp? And the answer is absolutely not. The lawmakers have created laws to protect people. The work comp laws that we're going to follow were created to protect both the employees and employers in Missouri. The lawmakers want people to follow the law, and what they don't want happening is employers blackballing people.
Right.
Once you get a lawyer involved, we know what blackballing looks like, okay? We know what appropriate behavior looks like, and so the employer's under a microscope. They're not going to start retaliating once lawyers are involved. There's protections for the injured employee.
I'm sure you've seen it all.
Yeah, I have seen it.
You know what to look for. When you said, I was like, I bet you do know what to look for.
I know what to look for, and I know how to remedy it before it gets out of control.
That's why I want you on my side.
Yes.
That's why I want Ryan E. Murphy. Tell me more about Social Security disability.
So these are all things people ask about when they call, because a lot of times they can't work because they've been hurt at work. Social Security is a separate area of the law. Okay, I practice in workers' compensation, but I also know lawyers who specialize in Social Security, and so I get people to the right people. Once you know our firm, if you have other legal needs, we'll get you to the appropriate.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Experts in that area.
So you primarily focus on that.
On the workers' compensation.
And that's good to have somebody who's so experienced in that, because you know what you're doing, and especially if somebody has a case like that, you want someone who deals with that day in and day out.
And recognizing, I think another value we provide is just recognizing what other types of claims may be available and then directing them to the right person to handle that type of claim.
Did I hear something too about, does our workers' comp include employment law? How does that work?
Employment law is a little bit different, but I have to answer these questions all the time.
Yeah, I bet you do.
For example, we know of things like age discrimination.
Yeah.
Okay, well, age discrimination, while it's an employment-related matter, is different than workers' compensation. Workers' compensation is an area of the law where you're hurt in the course and scope of employment, and that entitles you to certain benefits. But the laws in other areas, such as age discrimination, those are different areas of law, separate and apart from work comp. But again, we're still happy to answer those questions and direct people to the lawyer that can help them for their specific legal need.
Okay, so one final question about that. Let's say somebody's watching, they've been injured. What steps do they need to take? What if they're worried they haven't taken the right steps in the right order? What do they need to do?
Realistically, call for that free consultation. Call my law firm, go on my website, set up a meeting to sit down, to meet with me, and to get their questions answered based upon their specific needs.
And like you said, no hurt in getting that free consultation.
It's free no matter what.
So if somebody's watching right now, they want to take that next step, best way to get in touch with you?
Go on our website, give us a call.
Guys, if you're thinking about it, scan that QR code right there on your screen. don't hesitate. Don't risk what you could be rewarded in because you were scared to make that first step. And calling Ryan E. Murphy is that first step. Thank you so much. Great to see you.
Thank you.